What an interesting start to a week. Weekend was quite full of crap. Friday night, Friday afternoon, I realized that I had burned 8 gigabytes of DDR4 2600 megahertz RAM. I'm gonna step up from 16 to 32 actually, because I just think it makes much more sense. Say, I'm not sure if anyone is aware, or my close friends are. I don't actually own a Mac per se. I own a Hackintosh that kind of runs or boots off of one of these things, okay? Because if I were to purchase my Mac or a Mac with the specs that I have in this PC, custom built PC, I would have spent upwards of 4,000 euros. So if we take a look at this, I'm like 60 to 80% there. And I'm not sure what you know about 4,000 euros, but that's a lot of money, alapari. And I'm not about to blow 4,000, 5,000 euros on a computer because it is not yet justifiable, okay? 1.5 grand, that's fine. That's what I did. 4 or 5,000, that's Mac Pro territory, and I don't think I need that in my life, okay? So plethora of problems kind of start to arise when you look at a Mac OS setup. It took me 4 months last time, but I doubt it'll take this long. I'm thinking maybe worst case scenario 1 week. So I'm gonna have to postpone all of my creative work by 1 week. It's gonna be a shit show, but let's see what I can do. Maybe this time around I can sort of make the process cleaner, write it all down, save all the files, because I didn't do so. Haha, right? Tragedy. Now I'm sitting here and I don't have any application. I only have Windows, and I will not use Windows for creative work in 1,000 years.
$9.99.
Before you think, oh my god, you're so pretentious. The truth is I worked with Windows on music production for, let's say, a couple of years. When I say a couple, I really mean like 6 or 8. So I know what Windows is, and I just don't want to use it anymore, okay? Now, I could go out there and get myself in all sorts of financial trouble and just buy a Mac, but the Mac that I would require would be 4,000 euros, like a MacBook Pro 16-inch. And I don't think that's worth it right now. It's just not justifiable.
A few moments later.
What is it? Wednesday the 8th. And I finally finished setting up everything. I've got a new system, I've got new power, I've got a new graphics card. I'm here chilling with this bad boy. Sometimes he likes to sleep in my room. It's a rare pleasure. He's a very independent creature. Transhumanism, bro. So anyway, since everything is almost taken care of, I figure it's time to get back on the saddle with music production and everything, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I think I've pretty much finished Night Vision, and on that note, I should actually talk about the vision behind the EP, because I feel like it's of relative importance, okay? The EP is called Holy Trinity because it's 3 tracks, one of which I haven't even started making, but I know what I want to do with it, even though I kind of did that with both of the other tracks, but I want to do it in a different way, you know? Number 1 is called Nightfall. It's a very lush, kind of inviting, like, hey, we're going out, and it's very, like, it's warm and fuzzy and whatever. And then there's Night Vision, which is just pure techno. It's not even techno, dude. It's industrial electronic. It's basically industrial electronic music, but with a touch of techno. I don't even know what it is, quite frankly. I keep saying techno because that's the classification system that I decided to go for, but it probably isn't. I'm not sure what techno even is. Techno has been diluted into several subsections and several pieces of influence, so I doubt, it makes any sense. Track number 3 is called Dry Mouth, and now the reason behind that is I envision the EP to be kind of like a crescendo. Well, this is an inverted one, like a crescendo of intensity, right? So Nightfall, Night Vision, and then Dry Mouth. Dry Mouth is the kind of sonic representation of being hungover after party, right? So you wake up the next morning, what would your head sound like? I'm actually sitting here and I realize that maybe I want to go for something like Microorganism by Face and Misanthrope in their Neo Signal EP, which is absolutely incredible. It's one of the most brutally simple tracks or EPs that I've heard, and I love it to death.
A few moments later.
What up? Should we back it about? It's Thursday. So a couple things happen. This is night vision, and I think it's done. Take ourselves a little listen. We're going to see. Right. Say, the best part about this track is I can just have background music and no one can bother me because it technically doesn't exist. So I think I'm done with the mixing. In fact, I've enforced one of the concepts which was bothering me very much. If you look back at, say, my latest Instagram posts, you're gonna see a recurring theme. One of my friends actually commented on it, and he's kind of into music as well, starting out. You see, what we realized is that a lot of the high end, a lot of the stuff is distorted at higher volumes, and it's just generally unpleasant. And if you're wondering why, how come stuff that's professional, right, industry proof, sounds better, sounds cleaner, sounds louder? It's because I was using an incorrect mixing standard, or I wasn't even using a standard. Let me tell you something. A couple years back, I started making music. And again, a couple years is a relative concept. I was taking some basic measures to ensure that my mixes sounded good. But I kind of unplugged, and I shouldn't have done that from the entire music thing. And I was just doing my own stuff, which is a boring, silly, backwards idea. And I realized there's something called the LUFS scale. And now this particular track is mixed at, it's not minus 23, and this is pre-master, but it's acceptable. In essence, I'm learning my shit, which is very important, and the wiggle room that I'll have as a direct consequence of this quality improvement is going to be that I can do whatever I want, and it sounds good across the board. What do I wish I knew when I started out music, kind of like in the first video I did? I wish I knew the UFS scale. I wish I knew a lot of stuff. I wish I knew infrastructure. I wish I knew basic ideas, but hey, you gotta suffer, you know?
A few moments later.
Now it's time to get the fuck out the house. Because Jesus, man, this whole thing is really bothering me. Go on, buddy. Say, I gotta give this car a wash, because as pretty as it is, it hurts me to not see it shine purple like it should be. Yes, the car is purple. It's dark purple. When I first saw the ad for this car, I was like, cool, a black sedan. Sounds great. You know, features, automatic gearbox, yada yada. The extras that I dreamed of. Nice sound system, yada yada. And then there was one particular point which blew my mind, which it was actually not black, it was dark metallic purple. The moment I saw that, I was like, this is it, boys. Now they came up with a system. Some days of the week, they offer you a little cleaning, right? Extra. So it's called premium. It's not premium, but at least it's a good job. Now, the washing is like, they do a full wash, they do some waxing, they do some stuff. But really, I know a place my neighbor told me about. They do a premium wash. And I'm thinking maybe if this summer continues to be this hot and there's like no rain in a 100-mile radius, maybe I'll just give that a shot. See how shiny this car can get, because it's not had that kind of wash in over a year. So now comes the funny part. Oh my god! Imagine if you randomly get sprayed with this in the face. That'd be very bad. It does a nice wash though, because see, if you have a new car, or a car that is relatively new at least, you need to treat it with respect. You need to love it. This scratches the paint.
A few moments later.
Beautiful, right? Let's do a little bit of mixing. So I came up with this very interesting break for Nightfall, which is track number 1 actually. And I pulled a Dua Lipa, which has nothing to do with her, trust me. It's just it's got a disco vibe that Calvin Harris added. So I don't care for this core. Less noise, better. You know what I need? I need a second job. I'm just kidding. I mean, part-time, sure, maybe. I don't know. With my spending habits, would not be a terrible thing. In fact, knock knock, what's there? Literally. I'll stop harassing myself. And I'm gonna take an emancipation of appropriation. Not terrible. But since I'm such a goddamn genius, not really. I'm gonna cut it here. I'm gonna put it, bro, 1/4. I'm gonna interiorize. That's not the word, man. It's reverse. Reversionalization. We're just making words here. We're going to put it here. We're going to cut this much. We're going to send it here. No, don't goddamn crossfade nothing. I just went to Texas for no reason. Very disrespectful of me. Much like Texas itself. Oh my god, they're gonna ban you from the country. Hopefully not. I'd like to eat a burger and takes. Oh no, he's not a vegan. I really am not. Better. Right? Sure. I don't want this because it difficultates. Okay, that's not a word. Makes my job here difficult. We don't want sidechain here, right? We just want to kind of just not flowing, or rather flowing. In fact, I want half of it so that it does kind of this effect. Okay, let me just erase these and map it to the rest of this little piece. Watch. Beautiful. Or my perception of beautiful. The bass needs a little treatment, but we'll get there. I wasn't going to take this in this particular direction, but I'm not in charge. I never assumed I was, which is why I'm a happy person. My brain just goes, oh, this is going to work. And I'm like, okay. Jesus, take the wheel. That's what I call my brain. Jesus. Let's say right now I'm sufficiently pleased. Collect all and save, because I don't want to mess around. Okay. I'm going to call it quits here, because my butt hurts from sitting. I sat all day, and then I went for a drive, which is also sitting, and I sat back on a chair. Very not comfortable. And I need a new chair because this one has seen World War One, World War Two, the Iraq thing, and Syria. So, you know, I can't just... Me and her got history. Poor thing. Ciao, motherfuckers.
A few moments later.
So I was going through this podcast, right, on YouTube from this channel called Burstamo. These two British folk, really interesting stuff they have to say. I absolutely love watching them because that's kind of, you know, some of the things that I'm looking to learn, because made plenty of mistakes. And they made a very interesting point, which I'd like to touch upon because I feel it's very important, okay? I started making music when I was 18. Some very, very low-end laptop, FL Studio and some samples, and I thought I was the king of the world, as one would. But I never really liked to focus on one genre because it just seemed too stale, and I think this is why I operate better within the producer realm rather than the musician realm. And that's because I believe that vision cannot be unidimensional. Okay, if I were to do, let's say, You're My Religion knockoffs or follow-ups, it would get boring after a few tracks because that's just the nature of things for me. If you go on my Spotify, you will find electronic stuff, you'll find pop, and you'll find some slight divergences from that pop formula. Some stuff like a little ballad, pseudo ballad, one of them, which is inspired by a Post Malone track. I guess the point I'm trying to make is I don't know what people genuinely think about the multifaceted production that I do, because lately I haven't really done any singing. There's a fly on my camera. Thank you. Hey, get out of my studio. And I focus more on electronic stuff, but that's because it's where I started, and I very much love electronic music. I don't know why I picked this techno thing up and wanted to make it happen, but to me, it's a technical challenge and it doesn't get me bored. A lot of people seem to have a problem with, say, an artist that does a lot of things. By problem, I don't necessarily mean something like hatred or dismissal, but maybe it is expected that a certain artist has a certain formula, right? Because of the inherent extremely broad range of genres and subgenres and whatever the hell in electronic music, I end up crossing over into so many things. And I'm actually very curious to know what people think about that, because I personally don't think I understand it. To me, monotonous genre structure would bore me to death. And for you to understand how broad the range of things that I make is, I would even like to dabble in thrash metal at some point.
Wait, you motherfucker.
What I can promise you is that I will make follow-up genres to probably every track that I've released, okay? So, You're My Religion, there's a 10.0 version of that genre. I'm going to tell you what it's called. It's called The Lake, and I have had this idea in my head for probably 3 years, and I never knew how to execute it. There's a follow-up to Don't You, probably. There's even more diversification. Kind of just wanted to talk about that for a second. I feel it's necessary because some people might come in with a certain expectation. I don't like to impose limitations.